My name is Margarita Quihuis, and I am the director of the Peace Innovation Lab at Stanford and the Peace Innovation Institute in The Hague. So, the lab's mission is very simple. Our work is centered around this research question: how good can we be to each other? So we look at the potential of technology and innovation to help us bring society together as a whole. You know, the issue of racism is actually a bit complex. People are racist because they were raised that way. Racism has deep historical roots, and it's been around for centuries. So it's as much an issue of systems as it is about individuals. Absolutely. Since racism is something that's learned, we can certainly change the trajectory of racism. We can begin to acknowledge the history of racism, and more importantly, we can just start to dismantle the systems that promote racism. And the flip side of that is creating systems that promote justice, opportunity, equality, systems that allow people to fulfill their potential. And who doesn't want that? I think that we need to change the conversation around racism. We need to give people hope, and we need to give people a path so that way they can all become a better version of themselves. The problem with racism isn't just what happens to the victim. It is also corrosive and destructive to the person who's racist, because it limits their opportunities of the people they get to work with who could create wonderful opportunities for them. So it hurts not the victim and the perpetrator. And who wants to live under a system where nobody wins? I want to support this particular day because I think it's important to stop and actually take a day to have a global conversation about these issues. It's so hard to do in the day-to-day, and it gets lost. But if we can just all slow down and pause and look each other in the eye and say, I want to have a genuine conversation with you about this. How can I be a better person? I think that would move the world forward in a way that we can't with a very divided attention. I think that one of the simplest things that each one of us can do is look at our network of friends. Certainly in the United States, we are so segregated just in terms of friendship, and having friends from diverse backgrounds will enrich our lives. And that, I think, is a very, very simple step. I've had racist experiences in my childhood. I grew up in a very segregated community where my family was a distinct minority. And it was bullying, it was being left out. I wanted to join the Brownies, which is sort of the young version of the Girl Scouts, and I was told that I was not welcome. So I had very early experiences of racism early on. Certainly my father experienced it as well in the workplace and in his teen years, and we learned stories of those types of racist incidents. And it made me feel perpetually like an outsider. And it was very, very unfortunate also for my sisters. So we never felt fully welcomed. We were often told, well, you're not like the other people of your minority. And we thought, like, well, what do you mean by that? Because we didn't play to the stereotypes. And it was very, very harmful, and it was very humiliating. Technology is such an interesting variable in all this, because technology is morally neutral. As we know by now, technology can be used for good and for ill. And every time we have a new technology, we're presented with this new question. I think what's more exciting to me than the technology are the technologists, because now we have young, up-and-coming engineers, innovators, and entrepreneurs who are diverse, and they're bringing their lived experience to how they're designing technology, so it will be more diverse and inclusive. We're seeing women of color in AI. We're seeing black and brown entrepreneurs creating new technologies that will be inclusive. So I think it's really about the people who are coming in, who are designing the technology, that's really exciting, and that gives me a lot of hope.